everybody, and welcome to College Football Showtime. I'm Joe here with Aaron, and we have another fantastic show for you tonight. Listen, get you something to drink, get you something to eat, sit back and relax, and just come on in and join up with us. If you are here for the first time, we want to say thank you and welcome. And please tell your friends. If you're returning to listen to us, thank you for coming back again. Click that like button, click that share button, and let all your friends know that we are here and we are giving you the greatest on college football each week, talking about the games on Saturday and coming back and telling you the results of each game. Now, here's what we got for this week. Coming up on Saturday, Texas Tech versus Utah. That's going to be a good game. Let's talk about that. We're going to talk about number 22, Auburn versus number 11, Oklahoma. That's going to be a good game. And then we're going to touch a little bit on number 9, Illinois versus number 19, Indiana. And our last game that we're going to discuss will be Florida versus number 4, Miami. So once again, we thank you for joining us. Sit back. We got a lot to share with you. All right, Aaron. Here we are. One more week. Week number 4.
Yeah, it's starting to pick up. More games are starting to get more important. We're starting to get into conference play now for a couple of teams now, especially this next game we're about to talk about as well. We need to talk about these two teams that are in the top 20. We need to talk about Texas Tech versus Utah. And you have two teams that, with Texas Tech, you have a team that's building something in the transfer portal. They're bringing money into their program, and they're trying to invest where they can be in the college football playoff picture. And you have Utah on the other side that's a very reliable program, very physical, always a contender in the Big 12 or in the Pac-12 that used to be. But this is going to be a game that's early in the year who's going to control the Big 12 early. So that will be very interesting. These two teams have very good offenses.
This game will be played in Salt Lake City, Utah at noon Eastern on Fox. And guess what? With the weather, it will be 68 degrees, mostly cloudy there, and only 10% chance of rain. So tell everybody a little bit more about what you think is going to happen with this, Eric.
Well, it's going to come down to a couple of key positions on defense who can get that critical stop in the fourth quarter, because I believe this is going to be an offensive battle. Like, both quarterbacks are very talented, got some starts under their belts, very athletic as quarterbacks, especially Devin Napier for Utah, who can beat you vertical, can use his legs to be a run threat in the running game. And you got Morton for Texas Tech, who can push the ball down the field. So this is going to be two offensive teams that's going to spread the football out, and it's going to have to be one of these defenses that's going to have to make a critical stop.
And here we have Texas Tech. Their passing yards from, and I hope I pronounce his first name correct. Is it Byron?
Berlin
Morton. Okay. So far, he's done 923 yards passing. So that's not bad, considering that Texas Tech is number 17 in the country. So Adam Hill, which is the running back, has done 207 yards. And the receiving yards of Coy Aikens,
yeah.
Yeah, 229 yards. So, and their defense, their linebacker, Jacob Rodriguez, is done 17 yards. 17 tackles. There on the team. So hey, they're pretty good right there. Texas Tech.
Yeah, they have a good couple of good running backs too if they need to rely on and have guys to have fresh bodies on that running back. So you got Jacoby Williams and Cameron Dickey. That could be guys that can step in as well in that running back.
Right, 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 right. That's very interesting. That's very interesting. Um, Also, and I was trying to, and for some reason, we're having technical difficulties here with pulling up our other teams. Utah, which is number 16, and the conference that they're in,
They're both in the Big
Big
12, so
12.
it's a Big 12 matchup.
Yeah, Big 12 is having a big day
Yeah, this
Saturday.
this is a conference where who could be that number one team who can separate themselves early, even though it is early, but you need to see who can be that number one team, and this is
Right,
going to be that game that you could watch, and it's going to be early in the day. So
right, right, right. So I do apologize about that. We're just having some difficulties here trying to pull up. Everything just went haywire all of a sudden. And, you know, here we go. We have, okay, passing. Now, you had mentioned about,
Devin Demper,
right,
Demper,
628 passing yards. And listen, he's also leading in rushing yards with 198. So he's got some legs there.
yeah, he's the definition of true dual threat quarterback. That's his skill set.
Right, right. He looks really good. And of course your wide receiver, which is Ryan Davis, has 171 yards. And for your defense, John Daly.
Yeah, John Daly, Henry Daly is going to have to be a very key factor in this game. He can bring pressure.
Hmm.
He has 3 sacks in the season right now. So if he can bring a presence in this game, that could be very huge for the youth in Utah.
Wonderful. That'd be wonderful. Anyway, um, I think that's going to be a good game. I
Yeah,
really
it
do.
will. It will.
Of course, their line here is 4.5. Utah is the favorite, and the over and under is 56 and a half.
I'll take the over. Yeah, I think this can be in the
That's a
30s.
gutsy move.
In the 30s,
Yeah.
because I believe in these two offenses and what they have built in the all season. What I have seen from them in the
Hmm.
first couple of games. So this is going to be a game that could be in the fourth quarter. Who could get a key stop?
Okay. Good. Once again, folks, that's Texas Tech, number 17, versus number 16, Utah. And they're going to be playing in Salt Lake City, Utah. And that's going to be at noon Eastern, Fox. You don't want to miss that one, folks. That's going to be a true gem, I guarantee you. All right, we're going to move on to our next game. That's going to be at 3:30 Eastern. Number 22, Auburn versus number 11, Oklahoma. They'll be in Norman, folks, playing at Memorial Stadium. It will be on ABC. And again, 3:30 Eastern. Their forecast, 85 degrees, be cloudy, 15% chance of rain. And here's going to be something interesting for that particular game. There will be southwest winds at 10 miles per hour.
Okay, that's a key thing that everybody should know with this game. This is going to be Jackson Arnold returning to his former team in Norman. So you're going to see Jackson Arnold leading the Auburn Tigers into Oklahoma against a very fierce Oklahoma defense that has only allowed one touchdown in the first 3 games. So this is going to be a very interesting matchup against Jackson Arnold, that wide receiver, and Cam Coleman going into his sophomore year. And you got Jeremiah Cobb at running back.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be one side of the football they can determine this game is Jackson Arnold and that Auburn offense and that Oklahoma defense for the Sooners. So this is going to be a key matchup. And another thing, too, you're going to have John Napier, who everybody really likes
Mm-hmm.
for the early Heisman voting. So he has showed a lot. the first couple of weeks at John Mateer. So that's another interesting thing in this football game. Who can make the big plays in this game?
You mentioned about Jackson Arnold and him being a key player here. Jackson has done 501 yards for passing as quarterback. And Jeremiah Carr, 314 rushing yards.
Yeah, he has been very key for them, especially with Jackson Arnold, who has been very efficient in the running game as well.
Mm-hmm.
So those two together makes them more balanced, and they can do more things on offense if you Hugh Freeze.
Right, right. And then, of course, you got Cam Coleman, which is their wide receiver, that has done 149 receiving yards. That's not too bad considering at the beginning of our first week, we were thinking that Auburn was going to kind of not be there most of the time.
Well, you had questions early in fall camp that they was kind of struggling at times moving the football against their defense. They were having communication problems, but they got together. So that's why I say don't panic on your offenses in the first couple of weeks, because on offense it takes some communication, some rhythm, everybody communing and being on the same page. So everybody needs to gel early in the year.
Right, right. Now Oklahoma got some great stats here for you. In Oklahoma, and again, I'm really bad with names, so you're gonna have to help me out, Aaron. I mean,
Okay.
sometimes it can get kind of rough.
Yeah, you see some strange names sometimes, but it is what it is. Yeah.
But John Mateer,
Yeah, John Mateer.
hey, I got it right. John Mateer, 944 yards passing. So this guy here. We see that they have a passing game here. We have a passing game here because they're tight end, and he loves his tight end, which is Jaron Kanak,
Jared Gannett, yeah.
245 yards.
Yes.
So he loves hitting him, and of course their wide receiver Troy Blaylock.
Blaylock and,
Yeah.
And they need to use Deion Burks in this game as well.
Right, 166 for Tory. So that's going to be a good, and I do mean a good game.
Yeah, and this might be the other way around than the other game that we talked about. This could be low scoring.
Mhm.
So we're looking at the over. Is at 40?
The over is 49. Oops, I didn't mean to scream in the microphone.
No, it's okay.
49.5. So there's 49 and a half. You might as well say 50 is the over and under. And of course, Oklahoma is the favorite with 6.5. So you might as well say 7 points, 2 touchdowns. Well, 1 touchdown. So
I could see it being under because I've seen good things from this defenses on both sides, and especially with Oklahoma only allowing 1 touchdown. I think
that's something.
Yeah, their top 5 defense that I've seen probably in the SEC, if you're not counting LSU. I think both of those teams' defenses are very identical in what they want to do. They want to be physical. They want to send pressure. So it's going to be interesting who's going to be the best defense in the SEC this year.
It really is. It really is. In fact, it's kind of I wouldn't say a toss-up, but I mean, there's some teams that we're going, oh, they should be able to dominate, and they haven't really done that. I mean, they might have done it like LSU. We were looking at them to dominate the whole season. So far, they've only dominated 1 game.
Well, and you have to understand sometimes some championship teams, if you look them on paper, some of it takes a little time early in the year to know what is our identity and what we want to be. Yeah.
Right, right. And then, of course, there are some that we thought that were going to, fall apart and not be there. They're kind of trying to get their rhythm.
Yeah, they're getting their groove together.
Yeah, they're trying to get their rhythm together. Again, folks, that is Auburn, number 22, versus Oklahoma, number 11, on ABC, 3:30 Eastern on Saturday. They're playing in Norman, Oklahoma. That's going to be a good one. That's going to be a good one. Like you say, it may be a low-scoring game because of the defense, but I think that's going to be a battle, a good battle, a good battle. Coming up next, we're going to move on to Saturday night. Number 9, Illinois versus number 19, Indiana at Memorial Stadium. Bloomington, Indiana. That's going to be on NBC at Peacock, 7:30 Eastern. There, 80 degrees, mostly cloudy. This should be a good one, huh?
Well, ain't this something with two teams that you never know? Well, you'll never see as a football team that's on the rise, but these two teams and how they have structured themselves on their rosters are very identical. You see two teams that could be dark horse playoff contenders and can host a first round playoff spot in the playoffs. So this going to be a game and say who can separate themselves. You got Illinois. They have a lot of talent coming back, a lot of seniors on that team, especially on the Indiana side. You were just in the playoffs last year in the first round. You didn't have a good game against Notre Dame last year, but you were in the playoffs. So you have guys on your team that have some seasoning on them. They have playoff experience. So this going to be a game that's going to be very interesting. You have Luke Allmayer for quarterback for Illinois. You got Fernando Mendoza from Indiana, who's a transfer from California. So you have a lot of quarterbacks in this game that has a lot of experience. So this is going to be the game to say who can get the edge over the other, and it's going to be very interesting.
I like Indiana. I really like Indiana. I especially like them from last year. They came out swinging hard, and I was just so heartbroken, and I do mean heartbroken, how they lost in the playoffs. Of course, sometimes those last couple of minutes in the game, I mean, that shows you if you got the dog in you or what. Those last minute to 2 minutes in a college football game really tails off on your team.
Yeah, it was just times in that game last year. The moment felt too big for them at times.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of weird calls at the end where they should have got points and they went for it at times and just take the points sometimes just to have some type of momentum on your team. And they kind of just fumbled at the end
Right.
against Notre Dame. But you have another shot. You have some guys that's coming back, and you're going against a very good Illinois team
Right.
that has potential to be in the playoffs. And this just two evenly teams with a lot of similarities if you look at their rosters.
Oh, yes, definitely. Most definitely. In fact, I'm going to bring this up here on, of course, Indiana and Mendoza. Um, this guy has got an arm on him, and boy, he hits his targets. He has yardage for passing, 708 yards, and he loves Omar Cooper, who has received 299 yards. He's their wide receiver. Also, their running back, and it's Kalen Black, I believe.
Yeah, Caleb.
Yeah, Kalen Black, 217 yards. And this is, they got a good offense. And their number one tackler, who is Lewis Moore, their defensive back, he's got 17 tackles. So,
Yeah, you see that on the other side too. If you look at Illinois, a lot of similarities.
right.
With how they do things, how
Right.
they are on offense. They're very aggressive on offense, and it's going to be the same in this game. Who could get a critical stop and who can be more efficient on defense to get some turnovers or just
Right.
get some fourth down stops.
Right. In fact, and you mentioned Illinois. On Illinois, you have Luke Altmaier, 709 yards passing. That's kind of close.
Yeah,
That's very close.
very identical.
Yeah. And then his wide receiver is Hank Beatty, 289 for his yards. And then, of course, they're running back with Caden. And is it Fagan?
Caden Fagan.
Fagan, he's 222 yards in his rushing. And of course, Malachi Hood, that's their number one tackler. He's a linebacker. He's got 14 yards. So this is going to be a tight one.
Yeah, prime time on NBC. Yeah, prime time on NBC. So it's a very underrated game that people should pay more attention to.
I believe so. I believe so. In fact, the line on this is 4.5.
Yeah,
Indiana favorite.
It might go down even more. It might go to 2.5 maybe. Wow. I can see it going because it's very even.
Wow. The over and under is 52 even. I'd take the. I don't know. I would say take the over because it may be a high scoring game, but you got some pretty good defense here.
Yeah, it can go either way. I'm very conflicted on that one.
Yeah. But they're playing in Bloomington. So this is one of those games. And then, of course, Indiana is number 19 in the country. Illinois is number 9. Now, Illinois' schedule here, they've had a little competition. And I'm not to say that Indiana hasn't. But in the last, they played Western Illinois. They won that 52-3. They played Duke the following week. They won in that game 45-19. And then they played Western Michigan. And they won that game 38.
And they physically dominated Duke. I watched that game from start to finish. They're a very physical football team. Mm-hmm. And for Illinois to be looking like that early in the season, if they keep playing like that, they could give that Big Ten conference a run for their money. Mm-hmm. I believe. Do they play Penn State?
Hang on just a second. Let me go back to it. I believe they play. No, they do not. But they do play Ohio State on the 11th of October.
Is that Columbus or is that?
No, that's going to be at home.
Oh. Is that in October?
That's in October the 11th.
Oh, I'll keep that one circled because that could be, especially with a new starting quarterback with Julian Sayin for Ohio State. That's if Illinois is playing good football and they can get a win here, I'm keeping that circled.
Oh yeah, if they win against Ohio State, this is it.
Yeah,
they're the big dog.
Yeah,
they're the big dog. So they'd be knocking off the number one. Well, if Ohio State is still in the number one spot, but they will knock off if they win that game. They will have knocked off the number one seed in the country. That's something we're going to keep an eye on, like you say. So, anyway, this is going to be a great game. That is number 9, Illinois versus number 19, Indiana. They're going to be in Bloomington, Indiana at Memorial Stadium on NBC Peacock. That's going to be Saturday at 7:30 Eastern. You do not want to miss that one. Keep an eye on it, folks, because that may tell what's really going to happen in that particular conference. All right, here we go. This is the big show of the night. 7:30 Eastern, ABC, Florida versus number 4, Miami Hurricanes. They're going to be at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens, Florida, folks. It will be 83 degrees there, partly cloudy, probably an 18% chance of rain. 9 miles per hour northeast winds. This is something that a lot of folks are going to be watching because Billy Napier has not been able to pull a good rabbit out of the hat. And his job may be at stake for this one.
Yeah, just looking at that tape with DJ, it was just looking kind of rough, especially with 5 interceptions on the road at LSU. It just looked like a quarterback that wasn't confident in his reads. To give credit to that Blake Baker defense at LSU, they forced him to make some throws that he wasn't comfortable with, and you got to figure out how to get DJ involved, get him a running game, get Jake Ball involved in his running game. You only gave him 10 carries last week against LSU, so you need to get this running game involved just to get DJ settled in, so you don't have to get him to force footballs that he doesn't need to. So you need to be more balanced if you Billy Napier in that Florida offense. And you already know about Carson Beck in Miami. They have been looking good the past 3 weeks. You beat a South Florida team that beat this Florida team 2 weeks ago. So this is going to be a challenge for Florida, because if you lose this game, I believe next week you got Texas, I believe, the following week.
I believe it is. I'm not looking at the schedule, but regardless, if he loses this game, if this team loses this game on Saturday, it just doesn't look good for Napier, and it's not going to look good for that program. And
I would like to say this, but it's kind of like almost dead man walking kind of feel. He's like he seems like a good dude from the things that we hear from him.
He's a really nice person. I'm
yeah,
sure
but
he
it
is.
just feels like
There?
That's just a very impatient fan base that's starving to be relevant again, that has gone through a drought of winning. You get something from them here and there, maybe every 6 to 7 years, but they don't have consistency for that program. That's something that they want back.
Right. It did not look good also when they have other problems that's going on as well. Especially, there was I hate to call it a scuffle, and I hate to call it a fight, but there were fists being thrown at the LSU stadium field before game time between some players on the Florida side and some players on the LSU side. And one of the coaches also got in the middle of it. And if I can understand, or at least from what I understand, he has been suspended.
Yeah, from what I heard, from the information I have, I can't be for certain if that's true or not, but I heard one of the coaches did get suspended. But you can't have stuff like that if you want to be level-headed as a team. If you want to go and achieve the goals that you want to do, but you got to have some better discipline in that. So, especially on the road, you can't do that, and you can't do that in this game coming forward. But this is a rivalry game.
Right.
You are facing Miami. This is one of your top 3 rivals,
right?
Beside Florida State and others that you go against.
Right. You got to keep it together.
Yeah.
You got to keep it together. And I know we used to say testosterone is flying all over the place, but at the same time, you got to have a level head and think. You know, you just can't go out there and, I mean, the game hadn't even started. In fact, it was a whole, another 40 minutes or something, because we were watching another game, and it wasn't time yet. They were out there warming up. And the next thing I know, we were looking at people, pulling people apart. Fists were flying everywhere. It was insane. So Billy Napier is having to deal with that. Then he's having to deal with the fans. Then he's having to deal with, I mean, it's a lot. Some fans have even gone out and said as much as he doesn't even know how to coach, But that's neither here nor there. At this particular time, that is the coach. He has to focus on
Well,
this game.
he can only focus what he can control. So I'll just say it like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You had mentioned about the schedule. They, of course, they're playing Miami on Saturday. They're going to play Texas on the 4th of October. That'll be at home. Okay, after that, on the 11th, they've got to go to Texas A&M. And then they're going to go back on the road on November the 1st and play Georgia. On the 8th, they will go home and play Kentucky. And then on the 15th, they'll be at home. I'm sorry. We have we have those locations mixed up here. They're going to be playing at home when they play Mississippi State. That's going to be on the 18th. They're going to be at home when they play Georgia. That'll be on the 1st of November. Then they're going to go on the road on the 8th to Kentucky, and they'll go on the road on the 15th to play Ole Miss. Then they'll go back home on the 22nd. They'll play Tennessee, and then the last week they're going to play Florida State. This is not an easy schedule.
And
this is going to be.
I can't give you a gimme on that game. Nowhere on that schedule because I see improvement for Mississippi State. Yeah, especially how they've been playing, especially with Sharpen at quarterback. You got a Coach Levy leading the way. So, that's brutal.
That's a tough. That's tough schedule.
That is brutal.
That's
got to be the number one top schedule in the country. Right
it is.
That's brutal.
That's a tough schedule, and to be honest with you, if he doesn't make a turnaround, I don't know what his buyout is, but if he doesn't make a turnaround quick, he probably won't be there next year.
And all those teams nobody's on that team's gonna have a losing record. So you're playing winning football
teams.
Yeah. So man, that's
Kentucky.
Kentucky is decent. They have a formula that they're gonna be a physical running team, so you know who they are. So
this is a tough schedule. Who did this?
No, it's just that's just the SEC. That's who you play every year.
This is all conference.
In Florida State, that's who you play every year. That's your rival.
Right. So. That's the only one that's not in the conference.
Yeah.
But and of course Miami, who they're going to play Saturday. But the rest of those games that I just mentioned, Texas A&M, Texas, Mississippi State, Georgia, Kentucky, Ole Miss, and Tennessee, that's all conference.
Yeah, that's all conference. Man,
wow. Ooh.
Even last year's schedule was brutal. People
this
were surprised.
Is even more brutal.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I don't either. All I know is if he doesn't do it, because it does not look good right now. If he doesn't make a turnaround and make one really fast, and see, here's the thing. Florida is a big school. That is a huge school. They cannot afford to have a losing football team. They cannot afford that, because most schools, big schools, and I hate to say it, they kind of rely on their athletic program, especially their football team.
Yeah. I think if they could just can they get a win? Yeah, sure, but it's just
it don't look good right now.
And even with the harder schedule, you still got some winnable games. Texas is kind of struggling on offense. You got Mississippi State, that could be a win. You got Kentucky, that's winnable. So it's serviceable, but you got to get it together as a football team.
That's true. But then, if you're walking around and you're losing to everybody, whether the opponent is going to be a decent team or not, they're going to rally together and say, hey, they ain't doing good. We got this. You see? And you don't ever want a team to say that about
it's not like that. It's just like if they could just block out the noise and just don't. I don't know.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I really like what Carson Beck and company are doing down there. Now, it seems like we're having Miami on our show every single week.
Well,
But they've got
they're in big games.
yeah, they're in
early
big
in the year.
games. They're in big games. But there was one particular game. I know it was the first game of the season, and Miami kind of, I guess you could say, they were losing their steam around the third quarter, defense wise, and Carson and them, they were kind of taking their foot off the gas. You can't particularly do that with everybody. It doesn't matter how far ahead you are. Keep your foot on the gas, and you'll really come out doing very, very well. But I just it like Mario said, it's good for the entire state. It's good for the program, and it's just good all around for everybody. See, Carson Beck has already done 812 yards passing, and he's got wide receiver Malachi Tony. He loves hitting him. He's got 228 receiving yards. And Mark Fletcher, who you have on here, who's a running back, he's done 272 running yards. So, hey.
Yeah, I think Miami has looked the best out of anybody in the country. So if they could keep this up,
right,
they're going to be a playoff. Especially a national championship contender as well.
Definitely. They got to keep that momentum.
Yeah.
They have got to.
Yeah, it's just being consistent with them is going to be the key factor for them.
All right, that's Miami versus, Florida is going to be at number 4, Miami, on Saturday night at 7:30 Eastern on ABC. You don't want to miss that one, folks. And, of course, guess what? The line for this is 9.5. Miami favorite, and over and under 52.5. I tell you what I'm going to do. I am going to do the over on this. I think Miami is they're going to tear it up. Now, mind you, when Florida played LSU, it was some defense, some good defense going on there. And they held LSU to like 20 for the longest, I don't see that here in Miami.
Well, with Florida, they only allowed two touchdowns all year. Good defense as well.
Right.
All year. So if I'm going to take the plus for Florida, plus I'm play a plus 9.5 for Florida. So I can see this being close.
Okay.
That people anticipate it being.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. Again, folks, that's Saturday night. You don't want to miss this one. It's going to be good all down in Miami Gardens, Florida. Okay, folks, that's it. We got 4 hard games that's coming up this week, and they're going to be some really, really good games. We don't want you to miss any of them. Again, this is Joe. I'm here with Aaron. This is College Football Showtime. Thank you so much for listening. And please come back and listen to us again. Click on that like button. Click on that share button. Tell your friends about us. And we will see you next week. Thanks for watching.
Peace.